Okay, we are live. We are on Daf Kuf. Today's Daf Kuf Gimel Amar Aleph. We're going to start on the bottom of. We're going to start on the bottom of Kuf Beis Amar Beis. Move this over like this. Better.
Ufa.
The light behind me. Whatever. Okay. Here we go. Gufa. So we brought this in previously on Kuf Beis Amar Beis. Yom Tov shechal liyos acher haShabbos. If Yom Tov were to occur on a Sunday, so you're going from Shabbos into Yom Tov. So the shaila is you have to make Havdalah and you have to make Kiddush. So what is the order that we're going to do? Now, the variables are here. We got to make Brei Piragafen. We have to make a Kiddush. We have to make a bracha on Ner, and we have to make a bracha of Havdalah. Okay. We'll see in a minute why we don't make a Besamim, but we got 4 brachas, so there are 24 possibilities, right? The 24 permutations of these 4. Now we'll find out. We'll see here that Havdalah is never going to be first, Yayin is never going to be last, and Ner is never going to be last. Okay, so for the mathematicians, let me know how many possibilities there are. Lamaisa, we're going to see 8 possibilities. We have 8-way machlekes in what should be done. So let's get started. Rav Omar, Yayin, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah. YaKaNaZ. Yayin, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah. Why in that order? So Rav holds that, let's just take a look at the Ashbam. I forgot them already. Oh, there's 2 reasons. Kiddush either comes before Havdalah because Kiddush adifa me Havdalah. Kiddush is adif. Like, how is Kiddush adif? Why is Kiddush adif then from Havdalah? Why should that be? I was thinking perhaps, we mentioned yesterday, the Rambam holds that Kiddush and Havdalah are both deraisa. But many Rishonim argue and hold that Kiddush is deraisa and Havdalah is only derabanan. So maybe that's what the Rashbam is hinting to here, that Kiddush is hayem adifa me Havdalah is because Kiddush is deraisa and Havdalah is only derabanan. Maybe I made that up. I don't know. But he just says Kiddush adifa me Havdalah and therefore goes first.
Is Kiddush,
another reason he gives is because if you're going to say Havdalah first, that's going to appear like you're just trying to get rid of Shabbos. That like Shabbos was a burden onto you, and therefore you're just trying to get rid of it. So therefore, we do Kiddush first and Havdalah last. There's like a club where we try to be Ma'acher Havdalah, right? That's why there is an opinion that you do Neiris Hanukkah before Havdalah. Even though you think that's a little counterintuitive because you're doing a malacha, so you should do Havdalah first. Why would you do Havdalah second? Because you want to be ma'acher, you want to delay being ma'adil from Shabbos. Okay, so that would be the svara that we have here, is that we don't want Shabbos to look like a masui, like a burden, and therefore we have Kiddush. We have a Kiddush first, Havdalah second. Why does Yayin go first? That's the rule. That's back to the machlekes and brachas of Besamim Beisil. Do you do Yayin first or Kiddush first? There, Hillel says you do Yayin first because Tadir v'sheni Tadir kaidim. Why is Yayin considered Tadir? Because you drink wine either all the time, or I think over there Rashi says because you use it for many functions. Meaning you'll do a Kiddush, a marriage is done over wine, Bris Milah is done on wine, Kiddush is done on wine. A lot of things that you do with wine. So therefore, it's considered Tadir. So therefore, the bracha of Yayin goes first. Okay, so that's Rav Shita. Yayin is first because of Tadir. Kiddush beats Havdalah because it's either Adifalei or because we want to delay Havdalah. And Ner is before Havdalah, like it always is. We always do Ner. Part of the Havdalah process is Ner becomes before the bracha of Havdalah. Also, probably Havdalah, even we can make a Havdalah on Motzei Shabbos. Havdalah is the last thing we do because we want to be ma'acher that to the last thing we do. Okay. Shmuel says Yanhak. Shmuel says you do Havdalah before Kiddush, like Kitzer, right? You do Kiddush. Havdalah is Yayin Ner Havdalah. That's the regular order of Havdalah, and then you do Kiddush. Why does he say that? The Gemara is going to say a svara in a moment. I mean, on Kuf Gimel, because if you have a king and you have a governor coming in and a king leaving, so first you escort the king out, and then you welcome in the governor. So here Shabbos is the Melech, Shabbos is Malkusa. So first you escort out Shabbos, and then you welcome in Yom Tov.
Makes sense.
That's the svara. Now, what happened to Besamim? Why is there no bracha on Besamim mentioned here? So Rashbam, second to last line on the bottom of the page. Why don't they give a simon for Besamim? Is lafisha ein mevarchin al Besamim b'yamtiv. You don't make a bracha on Besamim on Yom Tov. Shoigam b'yamtiv yesh lo neshama yisera, because you have a neshama yisera on Yom Tov just like you have on Shabbos. Nice. So there's no need for Besamim. Frek Taisus, second to last Taisus. Vikasha, third line into the last, second last Taisus. Dim Kain, b'machi Yom Tov, b'may like tikna Besamim. If you're telling me that the reason why you don't make Besamim on Motzei Shabbos that goes into Yom Tov is because you have an Neshama Yisera, so then you should make Havdalah on every Motzei Yom Tov. You should have Besamim because you're losing the Neshama Yisera. So Taisus disagrees, and he says Yom Tov there is no Neshama Yisera. Why don't you have Besamim on Motzei Shabbos that goes into Yom Tov? Because what's the point of Besamim? Is to make you feel good because you're losing the Neshama Yisera. Since you have Simchas Yom Tov and you're eating and you're drinking, so that helps the same way Besamim helps. It's Rashbam and Taisus whether you have a Neshama Yisera on Yom Tov. How would the Rashbam answer Taisus' kasha? So one answer I saw was that Yom Tov doesn't have the same level of Neshama as Shabbos. Not the same level of Neshama Yisera. Therefore, it's not as an extreme letdown from Shabbos. From Shabbos is a big letdown, so you need the Besamim to revive you a little bit. And Yom Tov is not as a big letdown, so therefore you don't need Besamim. That's one thing. Now I heard a teretz years ago from a friend of mine, Tzvi Haber, who was speaking in Shari at the time on Yom Tov, and he brought this up, and he said over Sfas Emes, I saw the Iker Yisoid is in Ramban. And that is that you don't lose the Neshama Yisera of Yom Tov. On Shabbos, you lose the Neshama Yisera, so you need Besamim. On Yom Tov, the Neshama Yisera you don't lose, so there's no need to make Besamim. Why not? So the Sfas Emes explains that piece seems to be from the Ramban. What with the reasoning comes from the Sfas Emes, and that is because Shabbos is a Kaddish Me'elav. So Mamela, that's just the Kedusha that comes to you. So easy come, easy go. It leaves you. But the Kedusha of Yom Tov is something we have to make ourselves. The difference in the bracha, we say Mekadesh HaShabbos, Hashem is Mekadesh Shabbos. But Yom Tov is Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hazmanim. Yisrael is Akash Baruch Hu is Mekadesh Yisrael, and Klal Yisrael is Mekadesh Shabbos, is Mekadesh Yom Tov. So since we have to bring in the Kedusha, something that we work on ourselves stays with us. So the Neshama Yisera we get is from the work that we do, and the Mela, it stays with us, and we don't leave it. Okay. Anyway, then we have Rav, we have Shmuel. Now we have a third opinion, and that is Rabbah. Rabbah Amar Yahank. He says Yayin, Havdalah, Ner, and Kiddush. So again, he's like Shmuel. It says Havdalah should come before Kiddush, but he disagrees, and he puts Ner in between the two because he wants to be mafsik between Kiddush and Havdalah. It's like odd to have Havdalah and Kiddush right next to each other because they're opposite forces. So therefore, you put Ner in between to be mafsik. Now the Rashbam says it's more. You see, the next opinion here is Levi. He says it's more likely that Levi is the one who said the opinion of Rabbah because Rav, Shmuel, and Levi were all contemporaries. So it would make sense that the Gemara put them together, and then have Rabbah saying the next opinion. Okay, whatever it is, the Gemara continues, and we have now. So that was our first slew of opinions that you have. That you have Yayin first. Everybody here agreed that you make a Bar Priya Geffen first. Okay. The next two opinions say that you don't say Yayin first, but you make the bracha of Kiddush first. So we have Levi Amar, Kiddush, Ner, Yayin, and Havdalah. And the Rabbanan say you make Kiddush, Yayin, Ner, Havdalah. So here they want to have Kiddush first and Havdalah last. The question is, how do you break it up? So the Levi or Rabbi, the first opinion here is that you're putting yayin next to Havdalah. Why is that? Because really, Kiddush doesn't have to be made with yayin. You can make Kiddush on anything. You can make it even on pas. So we want it to be nicker. If we're going to put yayin first, then it won't even look like Havdalah has yayin to it. Because maybe the only reason why you had the yayin was for the Kiddush. So therefore, he wants the yayin to be right next to Havdalah. That's his opinion. The Rabbanan say, that's not a concern, but I do want Kiddush before Havdalah. So I put Kiddush first, and then we do the regular order of Havdalah, of yayin, ner, and Havdalah. Okay. The last three opinions is that ner comes first. Marbrei de Ravina Amar, ner Kiddush yayin Havdalah. You're going to have ner first. And the reason for ner being first is because the first thing you're being nana from is ner, because you have the candle on. So since you're being nana from it, you should make a bracha on it right away. So he puts ner first. That's why they all put ner first, I think. Then you have ner first, and now it's a machlekes of what comes next. So Ravana, Mabrei de Ravana says, like Shmuel, and Rav, like the first opinions, that you want to have Kiddush before Havdalah. Martim Amar Mishmei de Rabbi Shua, that you have, again, ner goes first, and then you have Havdalah first. So it's going to be yayin, Havdalah, and then Kiddush. And Shalach le'avud Shmuel l'Rebbe, Yilamdeinu Rabbeinu. So Avud Shmuel sent to Rebbe. So we've got already a Tana's opinion. Yilamdeinu Rabbeinu, Seder Havdalah Seich. What should be the order of Havdalah in such an instance when Yom Tov occurs on Motzei Shabbos? So Shalach Le, Rebbe sent back to Avud Shmuel, Kach Amar Rabbi Shmuel b'Rebbe Yosi. So says Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yosi, Sha'amar Mishem Aviv. He said the name of his father. This is from Rabbi Yosi. Sha'amar Mishem Yeshua ben Chananya. What does he tell him? He says the order should be Ner, Havdalah, and then Yayin Kiddush. Why is that? Ner goes first because you're nana from the Ner first. Then you have Havdalah before Kiddush, and then you have Yain in the middle. So it could be in between. It could be since the Yain is for both Kiddush and Havdalah, so you want it to be between both. Okay. Kavalik, that's beautiful. Ner goes first because that's what you're being nana from first. Then you have Havdalah, because Havdalah should come first, like we'll see in a minute why. Then you have Yain, because Yain you want to be samach to both Havdalah and Kiddush, and then you have Kiddush. Amr Reb Chanina, mashal de Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. What is this? Give me a mashal for this that Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya holds, that you have Havdalah before Kiddush. Why should that be? So that's what we mentioned before we were talking about Shmuel's opinion. And he says, mashal Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya lamelech, to a king, sheyotze, a melech that's leaving, va'afarchus, and the governor is nichnas, is coming in. So what do? Malavan es hamelech. First you escort out the king, va'achar kach yotzim l'kras aparkos, and then you go greet the governor that's coming in. Okay, Gavaldik. Says the Gemara, we have 8 opinions here. Halacha l'maisa, what should we do? Amar. Says the Gemara, my haviyallah. So halacha l'maisa, what do we do? Abaya Amar. Now it's interesting when Abaya and a Rava have their machlekes, they both agree to Rav. They have another disagreement of when do you put in Shachianu. So Abaya Amar, that's where the Zayin comes in. Abaya Amar Yak Zina, Yain Kiddush Zman, that's Shachianu Ner Havdalah. So he paskins like Rav that you do first Kiddush and then Havdalah, but he says that you put Zman in between the two of them. The reason for that is because since I'm already Isaac in the Shachianu in Kiddush, so I'm talking about Yantiv, so I might as well make the Shachianu for Yantiv. So I make Shachianu after Kiddush, which is its normal place, and then you make Havdalah. The Rava Amar YaKaNaZ. Rava says you do Yain Kiddush and Havdalah, and then you do Shachianu. The reason for that is because he says Shachianu doesn't even need a kais. Shachianu could be said on the shuk, like we do on Yom Kippur. We don't say Shachianu al kais, we just say it when Yom Kippur starts. So therefore, it could be said last, after everything's done. Says the Gemara, the Hilchasa Kirava. The halacha follows Rava. Now, why is it necessary to paskin like Rava? Whenever we have a machlekes Abaye and Rava, the halacha follows Rava except for YaKaNaZ. This is not one of the YaKaNaZ. So why do we have to paskin like Rava? So Taishas points out it's not because of Machlekes Abaye and Rava. It's because of all the Amoraim who argue what you're supposed to do. So therefore, we ask a paskin. We have to paskin like Rava. Correct.
They're a later generation.
Good.
Why are we just assuming they're buying Rava automatically?
Okay, good point. The reason for that is because they are a Basra. They are the later generations, and therefore we paskin like them. Which then would beg for the question: if we anyway paskin like them because or for Rava because he's a Basra, so why does he have to say Hilchos like Rava? Also Abaye, we paskin, we always paskin like Rava. And also other Baraim, he's a Basra, so he'd pass like him anyway. So why does the Gemara necessitate saying Hilchos like Rava? Good point. And on that, somebody points out because Lamaisa Rabba is a Rebbe of Rava. Abaye and Rava were Talmidim of Rabba and Rebbe Yosef. So Rabba argues on him. So we paskin like generally we don't paskin like a Talmud of Makom Rabbi. So we should paskin like Rabba. But that's what the Gemara has to say, Hilchos like Rava, because even though Rabba is his Rebbe, here we paskin like Rabba. I don't know why, but that's why we do what we do. Okay. Okay, great. That ends this piece of Gemara, which then when everybody knows we have YaKaNaZ. We do. That is the Maisa what we do. Yeah. Okay. Says Gemara weiter. Rav Huna. Now, when does YaKaNaZ actually fall? Yeah, we have a. I'm trying to think. When does the first? Yeah, we have a Pesach for the first night of Pesach. I'm saying in Eretz Yisrael, how often do they have YaKaNaZ? They have when the first night of Pesach is, because the Shvish of Pesach it never falls out. Loi badu Pesach. So this last night of Pesach is not going to fall out on Shvish of Pesach. Doesn't fall out on Motzei Yom Tov, but the first night of Pesach can fall out on the first night of Pesach can fall out on Motzei Shabbos. So you'll get YaKaNaZ there. And what else? You can have, I guess, the first night, whatever. You have YaKaNaZ. I love YaKaNaZ. You know, you like it? The candle. It's like fun stuff. It's a great nusach of Havdalah. Now you get all the 7. We'll talk about the nusach of it. Okay. Let's go weiter. Says the Gemara. Now we're going to go back a little bit to talk about Shudas. I'm sorry, Malava Malka and Havdalah. So Rav Huna bar Yehuda ikla lebei Rava. Rav Huna bar Yehuda was by Rava's house. Aisu lekamayu, and they brought in front of Rava ma'or ubesamim, a candle and besamim, and Baruch Rava abesamim bereisha. He made a bracha on besamim first, v'hodar ama'or, and then he made a bracha on the candle. Now that's good. I mean, that's what we do, right? We make besamim and then on the nair. So Amar Lei, Rav Huna bar Yehuda had a problem with this because he told them bein Beis Shammai bein Beis Hillel, both according to Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, ma'or bereisha, nair should go first, v'hodar besamim, and then besamim. What's he talking about? In fact, Gemara Mahi, like what are you talking about, Rav Huna bar Yehuda? It's none. It's a mission in brachas. It says Beis Shammai oimrim, in a situation where you only have 1 cup of wine, so you're making a birchas hamazon and havdalah over the same cup of wine. So you would say first a bracha on the ner, then mazon, then birchas hamazon, then besamim, and then havdalah. Ubeis Hillel, no, you make ner ubesamim mazon v'havdalah. But according to both of them, ner is coming before besamim. So what's up with that? So he tells him, Ani Rava Basrei. Rava explains, and he says, "Va'amar zu divrei Reb Meir." What you're telling me, this machlokes Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, is actually only going according to Reb Meir. Of Reb Yehuda, Reb Yehuda disagrees, and he says, "La'nechlu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel ala mazon shu betchila." Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree that Mazin goes first. First you make a Birchas Mazin. Val Havdalah Shibasayv, because we like to be Ma'achar Havdalah. Havdalah's at the end. Amal Nechlaku, where is the Machlekes Besamim and Behisal Gufa on this? Al Ma'ar Val Besamim. Besamim, I mean Ma'ar, first you make a bracha on the candle, because that's what you're being nana from first. The Acher Kach Besamim. And then you make a bracha on the Besamim. Beis Hillel, I mean Beis Hillel disagrees and says you make a bracha on the Besamim first, the Acher Kach Ma'ar, and then you make a bracha on the Ner. I don't know what that machlekes is about. Does he say? He says first, the reason why Rabbi Yehuda says you say Birchas Hamazon first is because since you just finished your Suda, so the first thing you should do is bench, because Ein Ma'avir and Al HaMitzvahs. That's what he says, but he doesn't explain the machlekes whether Besamim should come first or Ner. So I don't know why that is. But Lamaisa, that's what we do. We make a bracha on Besamim first and then Ma'ar. V'amar Rabbi YaKaNaZ says, Nagu ha'am kebeis Hillel v'aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. The minhag, and this is actually the halacha, is Beis Hillel going according to Rabbi Yehuda, that first you make a bracha on Besamim and then you make a bracha on Ner. Great. Okay, that finishes off this this sugya of Havdalah and Kiddush, which one comes first, and Ner Besamim. Now the Gemara goes back to an interesting shayla. Well, let's see this. Let's see this. Then I'll tell you a good kasha from Taisus. Okay, says the Gemara, Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba ikla lebei Rava. Now the Gemara is really bringing this story because on Omitted Beis it's going to discuss what happened on this encounter when Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba went to Rava's house for Shabbos in regards to Havdalah. But we're just going to talk about what happened with Birchas Hamazon. So Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba ikla lebei Rava Tazye debarach bar priagafen akasa kama. He saw that Rava made a bracha when he started the meal. And then he saw him make another bracha on Birchas Hamazon. And then he drank. So Amar Lei. So Rav Yaakov bar Abba says to Rava, why are you making so many brachas? You already made a bracha about bracha when you started the meal. So why are you making another Ber Piragafen after you bench? You already made a Ber Piragafen. So Amarle, so Rava told him, I'll tell you, Kiavina Bereish Kalusa. When I was by the Reish Kalusa, Hachiavdinan, that's what we did. So I'm doing what I saw by the Reish Kalusa. Amarle, Rav Yaakov bar Abbas tells Rava, that's not a good taina. I understand when you're by the Reish Kalusa, you'll make a bracha on every cup that you have, because there's Savik Maisilan, Savik LeMaisilan. You don't know if he's going to bring you another cup of wine at all. So Memeli, you'll make a bracha on every cup that he gives you. Right? And similarly, you don't know if he's going to give you the bench. Jesus points out, you don't know if you're going to be the one benching. So Memeli, if you don't know whether you're the one benching, so therefore you'll have to make a bracha. Because when you drink that, after you made the first bracha, you don't know if you're going to get another cup. So you misiach das from the following benching more. So he tells them, but over here, Hamanach Kasa, come on, you got a whole bottle of wine in front of you. But you're planning on drinking. You're going to be, you're the one benching. So what's the shayla? Why would you make a bracha in the beginning and then make another bracha after you bench? So Amar Lei, I'll tell you why. I know Avdi Ketami did the Rav. I did like the Talmidim of Rav. The Rav Bruna of Rav Chanan al Talmidim of Rav Havu. Rav Bruna and Rav Chanan al Talmidim of Rav. And Havuyasi Besudasa. They were sitting at a Suda. And Kai Ilayu Rav Yeva Sava. Rav Yeva Sava was being Mashamish them. He was serving. So Amar Allah, and he told them, they said to Rav Yeva, Havlan v'nivrach. No, let's bench. So that's what they said. Then they decided, Amar Lu Havlan v'nishti. Let's have another cup of wine. Amar Lahu, so Rav Yeva told them, Hachi Amar Rav. Rav says, Kivin the Amrisu Havlan v'nivrach. Since you said let's bench, Istiru l'chula mishti. You're not allowed to drink anymore. My time. What's the reason? Because you're planning on ending the meal. Since you're planning on ending the meal, so you're not planning on drinking anymore. So now that you change your mind and you want to drink again, so you're going to have to make a Bray Priagavan first. Oh, so what did Rava understood from that story? That means if when you just say you want to bench, that's considered a Hesach Hadas. So certainly if you're going to bench, it's going to be a Hesach Hadas, and therefore you're going to need to make a new bracha. So that's why he says I make a bracha on the first cup, and that takes me through the meal. But once I bench, that requires me to make a Birchas HaMazon. That requires to make a new bracha rishena. Okay.
What?
Now that we see this Gemara, we can go back to what Taisus before. The Taisus on the bottom of Kuf Beis Amud Beis. Taisus has a kasha. We always we do YaKaNaZ. And we always make a Bar Priagafen before we do mitzvahs. Right? We do Kiddush, we first make a Bar Priagafen. We do Havdalah, we make a Priagafen first. We do Erisin, we make a Bar Priagafen first. We do Berachas Nisun, we make a Bar Priagafen first. So when it comes to benching, do we make a Bar Priagafen last? After Berachas HaMazon. You should be, if we're being Masak and Berachas HaMazon on the case, just like we make a Bar Priagafen before we do everything else, and we make a Bar Priagafen first. So Berachas HaMazon, he does the same thing. So Taisus answers, from our Gemara here, because it works for everything else, because every other bracha, making a Bar Priagafen, because I'm doing this ala kais, and then what I'm doing next is not oiker my Bar Priagafen, but Berachas HaMazon is a bracha akreina. So your Bar Priagafen is oiker, it uproots your kavana from wanting to eat or drink. So mainly you can't make a takana to make a Bar Priagafen first, because Berachas HaMazon automatically uproots is oiker's mesiach das from your bracha. Then even if you would make a Bar Priagafen first, you have to end up making a Bar Priagafen again when you finish. So that would be pointless. Okay, that's Kuf Gimel. Question. It's an automatic Hesach Hadas. Yes, but you're holding the cup the whole time. So I'm planning on drinking this when I'm done. Right? So that Lachari, you would say I'm not being my Mesiach Das. But the word is that Berachas HaMazon is an automatic Hesach Hadas. Because you're making it's a bracha achreina. So I'm thanking God for the food that I ate. So that's like a stira to your hagafen. It's like you're starting hagafen is the start, and Berachas HaMazon is an end. So that's they're says to each other. Yeah, I hear you. It doesn't work. Also, bracha doesn't work. I mean,
it's like he says,
what was that about? Yeah, that's I don't know what pshat in that is. Yeah, Zevi's asking that what was the shakvatari here with Rava? First, he told him his reason was because this is what we did in the Bereish Galusa, and then he says, "No, I'm doing like Rav. Like, was he trying to figure out why he did this?" That's a good kasha. I'm not sure what the pshat in that was. That's a good kasha. Yeah, I didn't see this pictures yet. Maybe he talks about it. Well, I'll take a look. Okay, we'll see you all Monday night, 9 p.m. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
You suffer?
Earlier,
You suffer?